George Matthews back with you again on CharlottownIslanders.com. Guesting with me, Grant Sonier, the GM of the Charlottetown Islanders. We're doing, again, an off-season overview here on .com. We talked about the month of June already, going into July. Grant, not an awful lot happening with the hockey club until about the latter part of the month when all of a sudden a dust storm hits. You make a trade, and in fact, you trade a veteran defenseman with this hockey club for a number of years, going to Rimouski for a first and a conditional fourth. That was a rather tough trade for you to make.
Yeah, it really was. Anytime you're trading away quality people, you have to be concerned about the hole that they're going to leave in your lineup. And no question, Jimmy was a Warrior here for his 4 years. He was a former 7th overall pick. He certainly lived up to his billing. We lose a player like that, but there's long-term reasons why we did that. There's no question we're a better team with Jimmy in the lineup. We talked about, when we talked to the player, there was a number of mitigating circumstances as to why the trade was made outside of it being a hockey trade, but we're just dealing with the hockey trade in itself. He was an overage player. It allows us a little bit of flexibility to keep another overage in the lineup. We're allowed 3 in this league, so a guy like Victor Provence now is a little bit more set into the lineup. He's an offensive player that will score for us this year, and of course people that follow the team know how much offense we're losing in Curry and Duffy, number 1 and number 3 overall scorers in the league last year. So that was a bit of a concern to make sure that we're not having to trade away an overage that provides offense. So Jimmy leaving is a whole, but it's opportunities come when you move people, and we're expecting people like Kevin LaLiberte and Ryan Graves to step up and eat up some of those minutes, and you never know what you have in the lineup until you give those kids that opportunity. So we're confident with what we have on the back end. We may look to make a trade to shore up the back end to get a little bit more experience for our young kids, but at this stage right now moving forward, it was a hockey deal that we made not only for now but for the future. Those picks can turn into something either immediately or certainly down the road at the draft next year.
Ligny was a minute-munching defenseman for you, but this really gives a chance for a youngster like Ryan Graves to really show some growth this season.
No question. It was funny. The player's happy we moved him. The agent's happy. Rimouski's ecstatic. They got him. Obviously, they gave up a lot to get him. So the player and the agent and the receiving team are happy. I think the only person not happy is Gordy Dwyer, and I understand that. I've been a coach, and I know what it's like to lose a good player. But as I told Gordy, this is about opportunity, and if moving forward, we have to get our birth dates in order and moving an OA and getting in some draft picks so that we can get our age groups a little bit more segmented so that moving forward, not only good this year, but we can be good for the future.
You've drafted some scoring here in the offseason through the European draft and the Q draft as well. You talk about, of course, making a trade as well to try to shore up your goaltending long term, but you've also made some changes here coaching-wise. Go through some of the moves here for us as far as your coaching staff is concerned.
Well, when I took the job, I told the board of directors, I think the first thing for me to do was to self-evaluate. And for me to evaluate our coaching and Gordy Dwyer, our head coach, was easy. I worked for Tampa Bay when we made a trade for Gordy. I was in management. I've known Gordy a long time. I've watched his career here, his young career, and there's no question he's entrenched into his job, not only on the hockey side of it, he's very well liked in the community. So to extend Gordy was easy, but we've lost Corrado Mikalev, who has spent the better part of 8 years here and had a goaltending expertise to his assistant coaching duties. So we've had to fill that void. We're very happy to be able to announce that we hired Connor Cameron. Connor is the son of Dave Cameron, the Ottawa Senators assistant coach. He's got island ties, but that's not why he got the job. Connor's been very much involved in the league. He coached the last 2 years in Rouyn-Noranda under head coach Andre Tourney, who is now an associate coach with the Colorado Avalanche. So real good tutelage for him. He's learned the league. He brings that experience from the other conference over. So adding Connor and already having Luke Beck in the fray, Luke has been instrumental for me from an administrative side and also a young coach that's really bright and has a bright future. So we've got those 3 guys as our permanent coaching staff, and then with that goaltending loss and Corrado Mikalev leaving, we're very fortunate to be able to hire Paul Drew, a kid Islander fans would know him from his days with the PEI Panthers. He lives here in the community. He's been doing lots of goaltending instruction, so we're able to get him in on a consulting basis, and he's going to help the development of our coaches, or of our goaltenders rather, and also help with making sure Antoine Bibeau is up to par like we expect him to be.
And Bibeau, we watched him, of course, last season. He could be, this particular season, a game-breaking goaltender for your organization.
No question. It was funny. He came in the last season. We moved Max Legacy, and Legacy was slated to be the number one. And you got to give a lot of credit to Antoine for coming in and grabbing the bull by the horns, if you will, and emerged as a number one. Not only a number one on this team, one of the better goaltenders in the league. And everyone knows if you're going to win hockey games, you have to have great goaltending. So we're expecting big things from him, and we expect him not only to come back and play to the level he played last year. I'm sure the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for continued growth in him.
Of course, we're going through this off-season overview. We completed the months of June and as well July. Coming up, I know Grant's excited. August the 12th, training camp starting here. I know the fans are excited as well. We'll be back to talk about training camp in just a moment. For Grant Sonier, I'm George Matthews on CharlotteIslanders.com.